Hey, welcome to the recap. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and this is the recap for the week. Welcome to everyone coming in the room. I ask that you please hit that like button if you're on your way in. Welcome. Good afternoon. All right, so let's get right into it. Welcome to the recap. This is the show where we recap everything that has happened this week, mainly in politics and other things. Of course, current events, entertainment, anything. So if you think of it, this is where we can talk about it. So I have a few guests this afternoon. One of my first guests, we've been friends for a very long time. A person that he gets under my skin, but in a good way, when we go back and forth with our discussions, mainly about political stuff. But so without further ado, I'd like to introduce one of my guests for this afternoon. He also is a fellow content creator. Him and an associate of his, they have a group where they talk about movies, and they are the Main Street Cinema Boys. That's the Main Street Cinema Boys. Later on, I'll have him put his information in, or give you a link to where you guys can reach him. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome James to the show, Mr. Showtime.
Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Whoa, welcome.
And I'm waiting on my other guest too. So when he gets here, we will definitely get there. Welcome to everybody who's walking in the room. Real quick, let me just do a rundown of everybody. Of course, Mr. Credential, as always, thank you, sir, for being first in and standing the fort. Appreciate you. So grateful. Welcome. Bless Watkins, how you doing? Brother Nate. Auntie Donna, welcome. Always nice to see you. Andrea, hey, how you doing? And Purple Power, what's going on? All right, so let's get to it. Mr. Showtime, did you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about like your channel, what you do, what you talk about?
All right, awesome. Welcome, guys. Yo, I'm very excited. Thank you, Captivating Christian, for allowing me to, to have this platform. I'm so very, very excited. Y'all forgive me a little nervous, even though I do this all the time. I'm still a little nervous. I'm more excited, but I know we family here, so it's all good.
Right.
So I go by Showtime. We have a platform. It's called Main Street Cinema Boys. Basically all the newest, hottest movies, releases, Netflix releases. We basically just talk about that from a male point of view. Just open, open-minded, just a couple of us guys getting together, having a good time, encouraging people to go see different types of movies and stuff that is out. That is out. Just having a good time. If you want some fun, silly reviews, we have a really good time. It's a little bit different than what CC does, but we still, it's a lot of fun. Very informative. These are guys, we're a bunch of guys who really dig deep into movies. So definitely that. Also, you guys, please follow me on Instagram, all about that Instagram life. It's _a gentleman style, because I'm just that fly. So, you can see some of the content that I have on there with dressing and all that fly goodness stuff. A little bit of politics in there too.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so let's get to it. Our first topic, as I will wait for my other guest to come in. So whenever he pops in, we'll just shoot him up. But the first topic we'll talk about is, of course, Trump's meltdown. That has been somewhat of the topic of this week. And I have a clip of it that we'll show, so that way who haven't seen it, I'm sure everybody's seen it, but at this point, if you haven't seen it, you're about to see it in a second. So as I set this up, and then we'll, discuss it on the back end. Hold on, let me close all this extra.
So we're going to see. You're going to see soon enough. Okay.
So what do you say to Americans who are nearly 200 dead? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now? What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
I think
It's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just say something. That's really bad reporting. And you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism. Let's see if it works. It might and it might not. I happen to feel good about it.
All right, guys. So
Oh
let's
my.
get into this. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the room. Like to welcome Antonio. Thanks for coming. Thanks for popping in. Can't hear you. Hello.
I think he's on mute.
He was on mute. No, still can't hear you.
There you go.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. All right.
I'm trying to use my Bluetooth, but apparently it's not like in my laptop, so oh well.
No problem. So anyway, welcome guys to the room. Welcome. If you just saw the clip, that was a clip of the president kind of having a meltdown, talking about how the media is sensationalizing this pandemic. And I think it's the pot calling the kettle black in his case, but whatever. So let's talk about it. Thoughts?
Okay, so it pains me to say this, but he is not wrong. The media is making a lot of this a lot worse.
You think so?
In terms of people.
Sir, can we talk about the specifics of this one question that he did ask?
Okay.
The media, the specifics of this one. Let's just just narrow this down. The specifics of that one question he did ask. He asked him a very direct question that this was been the time that 45 could have really shown his presidential side and really have that. So the problem with him is that he's a candidate, or he's a politician that his specialty is riling people up. He gets people real angry and mad. He can make you, whether you really, really like him or you really, really hate him, he gets you riled up. Right now, we don't need a person that does that. Right now, we need a person that is very political. This is why Barack Obama and even George Bush, too, was like that. They liked him. There was a guy you can have a beer with. He's supposed to calm you down. This is why stuff is so sensationalized and so there's so much hyperbole out there, is because we have a president that riles people up. This is not the time to do that. All you have to do is answer the question. Hey, what would I say? I would say, you guys, listen, your government is standing behind you. We're working real hard. We're empowering people. We want you guys to be safe. That's all he had to say. We're not talking about, oh yeah, the media did this. And yes, I do think that a lot of this is, truthfully, and y'all gonna get mad at me for saying this, I think this is probably a cold. You know what I mean? It's a virus. We get viruses every day. I can't believe we're telling people in 2020 that you got to wash your hands, which doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, wash your hands. I didn't know that was a thing that we need. Or use hand sanitizer. I'm using hand sanitizer. I'm from New York. Anytime you caught the train or the bus, you had hand sanitizer in your pocket because you don't know what you're touching. So the fact that we have to tell people to do this, that is my problem with this, is that we should, he didn't make any sense to this one specific question. It was a direct question. It was a follow-up question. All he had to do was answer that question. And the fact that I think he threw him off guard and he didn't know how to answer that question, that's why he attacked him like that. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, we can't say that we're surprised by his reaction. This is what he does when he's caught off guard.
But just because we're used to it does not make it right.
I fully agree with you on that one. By no means is his outburst appropriate.
Okay. All right. I said, because
what caught him off guard exactly? You saying the question caught him off guard?
The fact that he didn't have an answer.
What happened is he didn't know. Instead of saying
he didn't know,
or it stunned him, he wasn't ready for that. When you ask like a toddler a question, they don't know how to answer it. They go, They go,
Well, I'll say this. To bring it all full circle, one, I definitely am surprised he actually called a white male's question a nasty question, because that was just left for women of color. So that was amazing to see that shift, because it really sickened me how any woman of color that asked him a question, it was always a nasty question, or you're a nasty reporter. So that was different. Moving past that, of course, I have to disagree, of course, as always, and don't be surprised, Showtime, that I'm disagreeing with you and you, Antonio, because I do feel like President Trump sensationalized it to begin with by calling it a flu, by really downplaying the severity of the situation. Being that now that we know that all Intel personnel or people with access to Intel secrets knew about this long before the pandemic began. So everybody was more concerned about taking their stocks and cashing in before things started to go crazy rather than really letting the people know, hey, this is something that's going on. How can we protect this nation from what potentially is, about to be on our shores? Now we're here, we're in it, and people are dying. The numbers are growing daily.
Yes.
And they're going to continue to grow. Like
Well,
Tom
so
said.
let me, because I see all y'all folks is getting real mad at me. All right. Then I knew what it is, and that's okay. I love y'all. I love the feedback. So let me just clear something up. And let me retract the statement that I made. Yes, I know I said it's a cold. It is. This is a far more severe cold. This is more like a flu. It's like it's a respiratory like flu. So I get that. I understand that, and I'm not trying to downplay because there are people who are dying of this. Thousands of people on a daily basis. A lot of the people are affected by it.
I agree with you.
So I do want to say that, I'm not naive to that situation. I am not 45. So, I do get that. I see everybody's like, Showtime, I get that. I'm sorry. But I feel that if proper precautions, and coming from our government, coming from the top down, they should have told us this a long time ago, the proper precautions and the things that we, need to do, instead of an instantaneous, like, oh my God, we're shutting everything down. Nothing than that, saying that creates the fear and stuff like that. Instead of saying, hey guys, this is a very serious situation that we do need to address. We want to contain this. We want to make sure that it is right. We don't want to go too crazy, so we don't want to go too crazy. So I just wanted to clear that up. And I do recognize that people are dying around the world. I believe it is a global pandemic. So I just wanted to clear that up before, y'all put me on. I go viral for saying that, and y'all think all black people say that. Well, so I just wanted to say that. But go ahead, Captain. I'm sorry.
What I will say is this. He did remove, there's a department that deals with pandemic issues that Obama put into place during the Ebola crisis and SARS and all that, things that we went through prior, that dealt with and answering and combating these type of situations head on before they reach to the levels in which they are right now. So being that he dismantled that department for whatever reason, more than not, just probably because Barack Obama.
Was that true though, Catherine? Was that true? Because I heard that he tried to dismantle it, but it didn't actually get dismantled though.
No, he did remove.
He did. Okay. I was just unclear because I heard certain things that he tried to remove it, but it didn't get removed. He was, trying.
No, he removed this. It was the national security has levels in different departments. That department in the national security realm was disbanded. There was nobody put in place to fill the position, so he just left it, whatever. Which is why you have the vice president taking charge, and then you have the Health and Human Services chair, Alex Zar, saying he's in charge.
I think the real reason why the vice president is
nobody knows who was
he needs
really in charge.
He just needs a scapegoat.
Right. He's always going to use a scapegoat. And then this week also, I read an article that Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law,
I just heard that about the son-in-law.
In this as well, he is also in charge of the task force.
Does he have security clearance yet? Are we still waiting for that?
He does have security clearance. The president gave
because I know there was a big issue that
he's not supposed to have it because of his conflict of interest and his debts and all this other kind of things, but he has it. Okay. Again, that is the president's right to give it to whomever he so chooses. That is totally entirely up to the will of the president. I think some laws are going to be changed after this whole presidency is over because I think they see where in which somebody with the lack of knowledge and education in this kind of field can cause a clear and present danger to not only the preservation of the United States itself, but to the world. So yeah, that's where we are with that. Getting into everybody kind of knowing, the president knowing ahead of time, being the president, knowing about the crisis and really not doing anything about it and sitting back. Senator of the Intel chair, Richard Barr, I'm about to say William Barr. I'm thinking of the Attorney General.
I'm about to say
Richard Burr, actually, he has done some insider trading. Now, a few senators, he's not the only one, but a few senators that had some money in pharmaceuticals and in other things.
Toilet paper? Toilet paper?
Right, probably that too.
Put it all in Charmin.
Dealing in different kind of pharmaceutical companies, different, manufacturers of respirators and other things like that. They started taking their money out because they already had early on signs that the stock market was about to plummet. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is calling for Richard Burr to step down as the head of the Intel department.
And I also think that he needs to get arrested also, along with those other. And thank you for the names. Thank you for putting those names up there.
Thank you for the names, Andrea. Yes.
Yeah, yes, because I believe this is why Martha Stewart went to jail.
Yeah, it is.
Insider trading. It's illegal. It's a white collar crime. Go to jail.
The hookup.
Yeah, that's
right. Pretty much it.
Street cred, you know what I mean? We'll put you in the jail,
right.
And I believe that they need to go to jail because if this have been, and I'm going to bring color into it. If this had been anybody of color, they would have been up in jail, up underneath the jail. This is insider trading. This is against the law. You can't do this, especially since you had that intel. You can't do that. So I mean, yeah, he needs to go to jail.
Okay.
If we can put, he needs to go to jail. All of them need to go to jail. I think they just need to go to jail.
I mean, pretty much that's the definition of insider trading. Somebody told you something was about to happen. You shifted your money around so that way you could profit off of it. That's insider trading.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I guess the question will lie. Of course, Martha Stewart went to jail for this and served some time. However, the question would then lie, if you then punish these senators for insider trading or even making money off of the misfortune of a lot of people due to a virus, then what did you say about the president himself?
I mean, unfortunately, we can't. Go ahead, Antonio. Go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of people say a lot of things about him. So you what exactly?
No, but I'm saying that he's profiting. That he's profiting as well.
But isn't the law we can't prosecute the sitting president? So we would have to wait till he gets out of jail. I mean, there's a lot of things that this man.
I mean, he's still violating.
Yeah, but listen. He done violated a whole bunch of things, and that man still isn't. I mean, I think the only way we're going to get rid of 45 is to hit the election polls in November. That is the only way that I feel. Over the impeachment.
But being that, okay, what if they postpone it or change? Well, they can't postpone.
I don't think they're going to change it. I think that they're going to find.
They can't. But I mean, that was hypothetical because they can't.
Oh, okay, yeah. They
need both houses to consent on changing.
Yeah, but I do not. I'm going to say this, and people can get mad at me. I do not want Donald Trump to get impeached. Yes, no, I do not. I do not want him to get impeached. I do not, because what it does is that every time that we try to do that just incites his base. And they go out and vote even harder and everything. Yeah. So I want that man to go. I want everybody to go to the election.
But he did.
I want them to elect that man out fair and square. That is forget the Russians. I don't want to talk. No, you know what I mean? I don't want that. I want it to be everybody went up there, and there's going to be such a big margin that he lost by triple digit numbers in every state.
Okay, so I'm
he was impeached. He was impeached, but he was not kicked out of office. And Drake
okay, that's
because
we're trying to make sure it's correct and accurate. He was impeached. The impeachment are charges, so he does have charges. He just wasn't convicted.
Yes, of the thing. Yes. So, but I do not want him thrown out of office.
That we are always as accurate as possible as we can be when saying that. But go ahead
Okay,
and
so I was saying I'm a political baby, meaning I'm new to this. I didn't. No, I'm serious. I didn't really start paying politics and paying attention to politics until the last 4 years.
Right.
Because things have been the way it's been. I should have been paying attention before, but I digress. So I am aware of the impeachment proceedings that took place, but I wasn't 100% sure on what the final verdict was, because apparently he's still in office.
Yes.
So does that mean he can't run again? Because according
to there was no stipulations, because at first, when they realized they weren't going to be able to get a verdict from the Senate, because the Senate was the actual people who were
going to remove him from office,
actually hand down the charges, whether he was going to get convicted or not. They, of course, voted not to convict. However, they were also talking about, if not conviction, then some sort of sanction or censure to the president, be it that he probably would not be able to run for 2020 election, or, something limiting his power or ability to do certain things. However, that was shut down as well. So you just got, that basically they didn't feel like he was guilty.
So wait, Tony, can you just and I'm kind of, I'm a little bit, I'm like a teenager in politics, but what it is, I ain't a baby, I'm kind of a teenager, but what it is that, so the way the process goes, that you have the House and then you have the Senate. So what the House does is that they had their trial and they
had a hearing.
They had a hearing, yes.
So it's just like, if you look at it, how grand juries work. Like, before there's a trial, there's a grand jury. The grand jury hears all the evidence. They are consistent of other lawmakers, different officials that may be retired, or some that are still working. They come together, they hear the evidence, and then they vote on whether or not the evidence that they've heard renders a trial. And then the trial begins, and
and that goes to the Senate. Yes.
Yeah. So this is how that works. Congress is like the grand jury. They hear the evidence of what the president has done. They then take a vote to whether or not they find what he's done to be grounds for impeachment. They set up the charges, and then the charges, which are called the articles, are then handed down to the Senate. And
the Senate is where they can actually remove him from office. If
the Senate will be the trial.
And all of those
are Democrats with
between red and blue, right?
Hold on, I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Antonio, go ahead.
I said, and all of that is still split between red and blue, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At the moment.
Right. That to me seems like a conflict of interest, but whatever.
Well, it was. I mean, true indeed. The Republicans chose to stick through party lines and vote for him not to be impeached or removed from office. However, in a lot of their notes, when they posted their, I think it was in either the Post or the Times, one of those, was able to get copies of a lot of the senators' notes. They went back and asked them, hey, can I see your notes? And a lot of them did write that they felt that he was actually guilty. However, they didn't feel that it warranted a removal of office. However, at the same time, if you really felt he was guilty, then guilty is guilty. There is no level of guilt. It ain't like, if somebody says, well, I stabbed someone, but they didn't necessarily die for
it. And it was for the good of the virgin. They were going to rob somebody else.
Maybe they died.
I was able to show them, yes.
It's like, at the end of the day, if you did it, you did it.
And there's no witnesses. I don't need any witnesses. I don't care if 5 people saw it. We don't care. We're not going to call them into play. But anyway.
No, I don't know about all that. But anyway, I'm just going to say that, it was just, that's how it works. And it's hard for us to understand the level of your vote. That's why I say, like, voting is so important, because you have to make sure that the people that you put in office represent your views and things that you stand for. So when you have people in office that are just self-centered, who are looking for the best interests of themselves first before the people, you get situations like that where you have a president and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, he's done all this stuff. But however, at the same time, though, the trial was not for nothing. It wasn't in vain, because the American people got to hear and see the things that part of the things that he's been doing since he's been in office. So now you can take that information with you and go to the polls, either, physically, or maybe because of this thing, it may be electronic. And Lord knows that's going to be a kerfuffle. And, take the evidence and the knowledge that you have and make a decision, whether or not you want him to be.
Even with I know you said that electronically it's going to be messed up, but would you even really want to mail it in? Like,
well, they would have to, because they tried electronic in for the caucus in
Well, that was through a third party.
Yeah, so that was like an app or something like that, and that didn't work. And then, right now, I think the conversation is, the Russian hacking and all that other goodness stuff. So I think that there's a kind of a
distrust. Well, that's always a worry because they never stop.
Yeah. So like I said, but I think electronically probably would be. I wouldn't even mind mailing it. If everybody just got a stamp, or I think that I actually am in favor for that. So I just need something to get this man out. That's all I'm saying. However, I got to walk to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue myself and vote. Everybody come to DC.
No. All right. So moving right along to something else. Something else that's trending, of course, that just started trending actually in a couple hours. The pictures of Andrew Gillum in a compromising position.
And you know what? I'll go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
My fiance was showing me the pictures, and he said this looked like a setup.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's
just what I said as we were backstage. I
looked at the pictures, and I'm like, okay, so he's naked on the floor. Pills are over here sprawled all over the place. There's a bottle of something.
Right.
There's a blood pressure machine, so apparently somebody got hypertension.
Right. Right. What are we doing?
And like, there's stains all over the bed. There's stains on the pillow. There's a bag of just stuff. I'm like, yeah, this do look like a setup.
I haven't seen the other pictures.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen all of them. This reeks of OPA. Like, we need Olivia Pope and Associates back.
Right, because somebody please go get the gladiators, because
exactly, we need this to be handled. This literally, this looks like a setup. I think that, I really do think it's a setup.
I just fully think it's a setup. One, I think, like, okay, first of all, whose foot is that? Because clearly you was obviously picking the picture to be like, "Ooh, we gonna get him." My issue, though, and people may find a little fault with me, but my issue is with him, because at the end of the day, you just finished running a gubernatorial race not too long ago. Okay, so you already, and it was close.
No, but I'm saying, I think there was a setup even before this.
Let me finish this one point. It was close. It was closely contested, so much so that you had the votes recounted. You did all of this, so you're already still going to be. We're still talking about Stacey Abrams at this point.
Yeah, for VP
and being that you come from Florida, it would have been nothing to tap you on the shoulder and put you in the cabinet position in the White House to solidify your political prowess. What are you thinking?
Not no more.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. So I'm gonna be okay. So this is where I see the whole thing play out. I think that this is my conspiracy theory. I don't even think that he knew where he was at. I believe that this happened even before the hotel room. I don't think because they said that when they found him, he was like slurring words and he was inconsistent, and he was kind of just out of it because he didn't want to comment on it. So I think that this was a setup from the beginning. I think this was he could have met somebody at a bar. He could have been drinking orange juice and somebody said something.
Right. Like somebody said that movie Ricochet, was it with Denzel Washington, and he was tied up at the bottom of the pool and they had drugged him. I think it was, but of course you got to find something that the person is attracted to lure him first. So let's
this is B. Was it B 3613 B? What is it? B something. Like I think I think that this reeks of everything, and then also why another thing is that these pictures are. This is why I know it's kind of a setup because they're leaking these pictures out. They want these people. They want these pictures to be seen.
Yeah.
This is something
Right,
that
yeah.
I mean, that I
But
don't
I'm
think
saying
this is
to
something that
destroy it was
yeah, his credibility and his image.
13.
But the fact that you have this naked black man on the floor like that, I think that is very disrespectful, and that they're showing it out. I understand they had to take pictures. I don't even know how they got the pictures. You know, I mean, how do you get something? And he's laying on the floor. I mean, he's
Well,
not
that
dead.
picture looks like it came from because the one picture I saw was of the person's naked foot, so it was obviously a man that was
Sick and you know, what I mean, it's just. But these pictures got released, and I just think like this is all real suspicious. You know, real suspicious.
Right, but I
Thank you,
granted,
B613.
I understand the suspicion, and that is correct. I mean, of course, it definitely looks like a setup. However, at the same time, the responsibility lies with the person to some degree, because it's like, one, you're a public figure. At this point, you're a public figure. You had a spot on CNN in the morning, you and other co-host guests. So, you know,
but I mean, but
your face is out there.
But if somebody drugs your drink, you know,
no,
you
I
can't control
understand that. I understand that part of
I mean,
it.
at least
That part is uncontrollable. But the part where in which you keep yourself, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be mindful of the things and the people you're around. I just don't believe. I just don't believe it was just on some, oh, hey, guy, snap, snap, and it was done. It was like there was some pretense to either meeting up for whatever, and then it went from that to
I'm laying on the floor with no clothes on.
Vomit and throw up.
From what I heard, he said that he was quote unquote helping out a friend. So okay. This friend of yours happened to be a male escort, and there happened to be drugs all over the place. Something don't sound right.
Well, the other guy it was three guys, right?
Right.
And the third guy was a medical professional, so he was a nurse practitioner or something.
Is that why they have blood pressure machine in there?
That's why they had the blood pressure machine there. They knew exactly how.
Okay. Well, then maybe did they? Then possibly they could have called the man. They could have called him after. Well, whomever.
No, I thought he was partying too. Like I thought.
Well, who was the person that OD'd on the? Was it the Mexican? Was it the? They said it was somebody.
The nurse practitioner. I don't think the nurse practitioner got OD. I think it was the other. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, it's real messy, and I just think that this was all a setup. You know, what I mean, Andrew Gillum. I mean, his political career has now, you know, been in the toilet. He needs to do a reality show, get his friends and family, his following back, and you know, it's a wrap.
I don't believe he needs to do no reality show. He just needs to lay low.
Well, didn't they say that he was going to rehab or something?
Right, he's supposed to be going to rehab for alcohol abuse, for alcoholism. I just say my whole advice to you is when you do come back and you're ready to do an interview, don't go to Gayle King.
Please don't. She will show a picture. So on the
right. I understand you is married, but there's a gay man. He's an escort in this picture. Can you explain that? But I'm happily married. Yeah, I understand that, but there's still a man.
And even then, okay, so I'm sorry to keep staying on this. Let's just say that he did know these people. Right. Somebody OD'd in the room. You had to call a paramedic in there. Why didn't you put clothes on him? Let's say he was unconscious.
Right. This is what I'm saying.
You could have put clothes on him, put him in a chair. Like you.
Right. If there's three people, right, and then or why not him? You being the person that you are, get a second room, and then you could have, you know,
if anything happened, put me over there.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah,
put me over there. Have some sort of bodyguard, some sort of something to be like, we got a code 10, enemies at the gate. We need you know, and the fact that you have that, you don't have that, causes this problem, and then they taking pictures of you just laying there naked and you throw up.
Like I said, I mean, I just think that it's also real. I just think that's real disrespectful to put that out, and I think that this was if this was any other political person, I don't think that they would put those pictures out like that. You know, because you know there have been plenty of politicians who've been out there sleeping with God knows, you know, with everybody, and there's no leak photos. All of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of leak photos and people and all these drugs and stuff like that, like strategically placed, if I must say. You know, for
Yeah, but I
Andrew
mean,
Gillum. So
again,
he may have knew something that he
to
wasn't supposed
making
to.
sure that you don't, you know, that you kind of hold yourself to a certain standard. Yeah, it may be boring, or it may seem like you don't do nothing, or you don't have a life. Prime example, the Obamas. I mean, you know, people could say, "Oh, they're boring. They do nothing. There's nothing sensationalist going on." That's because they knew every little step, everything
Did they take? Yeah,
being
absolutely.
scrutinized. So at
Absolutely.
this point, it's like, why could you not have thought that? You don't have to be him or think like him in a sense, but no, every move that you make is being scrutinized. From this point on, from me entering in this race in Florida, no less, and getting the turnout that you did, which you ran a fantastic race. You nearly won, almost, just about. I mean, you know, that's still questionable too. But ain't no question.
There's no more questioning.
There isn't any. Those are done. Well, actually, this actually could be a political boost because I mean, we do like, you know, drama in the White House. So this actually may actually help them out a little
If
bit.
he bounces back and does community service and really shows
Not to the White House. Not to the White House.
I mean, listen. I think Kim Kardashian is going to run in the next 8 years. So you know, like you never know. You know, I mean, you never know. This could actually be a boost for him. So he'll get that LGBTQ community, and you know, listen. I'm just being honest. You guys can just, you know, I'm being.
Well,
honest.
I don't understand. I don't understand how.
game
I
for
don't
him.
understand how the community would even kind of
Be-
go.
yeah,
behind that.
because, you know,
When he's
he was afraid to come out. I mean, come on, let's
right
just
when he was
reality.
undercover, so therefore it'd be like, well, you ashamed to.
But he was, as I said, you can flip the narrative. You can make this narrative to anything you want to make it. You can like, oh, you know what? I was really, you know, I was unsure about myself, and you know, but I really.
He could, again, talking about a politician, he could flip this. There's ways.
He's married
make
with
this win.
Right back to Olivia Pope. There's ways.
Exactly. Let's start selling some T-shirts. You know what I mean? Like, come on now.
I'm married with kids, and I like men too. I don't know. So not
Listen,
let's not.
It happens.
I mean,
it happens.
I mean, yeah, it happens. It happens on both spectrums. But again, it's different for us. You know what I'm saying? As unfortunate as it is, or kind of, it even shouldn't be this way in 2020, no less. It is different for us. So we have to always be mindful of that. And we can never lose sight that it is different for us. When we enter in arenas in which they already don't feel like we deserve to be here,
Coronavirus.
You kind of got to watch.
Oh, asthma. Calm down.
You kind of got to watch yourself. So I'm just
well, watch yourself. Be careful, though. Be careful. I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry, Christian. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Anybody
about that?
No, I'm interested to see how he bounces back. Like I really want to see where this goes because
I'm waiting for the interview. I'm really waiting for the interview.
I don't want no interview. Like, let's not have it. Like, bro, you messed up.
Well, I mean, he's got to have one. He's got to have one. Like who?
You know, like he needs to stay under the radar for like at least 3 or 4 years, and then he can come back and, you know, like, let's not talk about him. Like, because my main intention is like, let's get, you know, Trump.
That might be too long. How many years? But anyway, real quick to talk about this. Harris, Kamala Harris wanting to release federal prisoners, low-risk federal prisoners, to the virus. I won't say the whole name because they've been typing people for saying it. I don't know, for whatever reason, but
really,
yeah. So due to the virus, she wants to release federal prisoners, but low-risk federal prisoners.
What counts as low risk? Because that needs clarification. Seriously.
Well, I mean, the article didn't really say what she definitely considered to be low risk, but I would assume people who have done like low crime, low federal crimes. But
it's federal. I would say it's federal crimes. Crime.
Okay, so they stole $500 from somebody.
From a bank, or they stole from a charity. Yes,
because like it's low risk that all depends on someone's judgment of what you consider low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it does. I feel like there are guidelines to low risk. I can skim through it. Let's see if we can find it. But while I'm looking for it, oh god, and that picture just popped up too.
Or Gillum?
Yes,
God is trying to tell you something.
not trying to tell me nothing. Not with that. Okay, so
Lord have mercy.
What are the conditions of the prisons? That's another question, because I'm from Baltimore, and there were a lot of prisons that were.
well, they're saying that the danger is that because there has been one a prisoner in California. There's a few prisoners in California that have been infected, and they don't want it to spread because, of course, the incarcerated population is huge, and that would be another kind of pandemic on top of that. So what they're trying to do, one, they're trying to get the prosecutors and all the judicial department to really look into charging people and sentencing people for low crimes to the point where it brings them into the population that's already infected. Secondly, they want to look to release people, of course, like I said, for low federal offenses. So
Do they have places to go?
I mean, I guess who talking about, the infected or
the people who these low risk people that they're thinking about releasing? Do they have places to go? Do they have homes to go to, or what are you releasing?
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I
mean, usually, for federal crimes, from the limited knowledge that I have, usually for federal crimes, like you have to have some, they usually have like a place where you have to go because you have to like
halfway house.
Yeah, either halfway house or you have to go to like a family member's house and be like, this person is responsible for, person X coming out of jail.
So are these people just releasing free, or are they on house arrest? Like
they are free.
Oh,
no, this is supposed to be. I don't know.
I mean, it's also people that's supposed to be getting out. Isn't it also like early release also? So like they may have had like
they may be pushing up early releasers. They may be pushing up people with early release or people with sentences for minor federal crime that could probably be reviewed and them to be free. Now, where are they going to be free to? Don't know. Free to do what?
You got a federal person. You got a federal. You'll be back in jail in about a month or so.
Free to help, hopefully, avoid the coronavirus. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, so it's one of those things where it looks good on paper, but when you actually think about it, there's a lot more questions involved.
Well, my question mainly is, let's see the numbers of how many people are in jail of color for federal crimes compared to those that are not of color. Because that would help me a great deal to see like, oh, okay, that would be basically pushing them out, but keeping us in, or vice versa. So I'm curious on that.
That's another thought. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. That's where my thought process was going with that when I heard that. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it?
So let's just say you get caught selling weed. That's not federal, is it?
No,
that's state because it depends. Some it's legal.
Well,
certain areas.
Certain states. It depends on the states.
And then, even though it's legal, the only legal part of it is the amount. So if you get caught, I guess, with a particular amount, you could face some time too. So you want to be careful. About the quarantine, how's everybody doing?
I'm still able to leave my house, so it's not, because honestly, one thing I can say is, beyond the stupid spring breakers that hoarded, everybody else is pretty much in the house on their own. The people who are out are going to the store and going right back home. Like there's no one
lingering around.
It's outside right now. It's
in my community, a couple people. I mean, they're out walking. I think, especially up there, like, cause I'm in Virginia, and a a lot of people were let go like on Monday from work, like this past Monday from work, and we have they told us to go back on the 1st, ideally, but they look like that's being scratched. But now I'm not saying cabin fever has totally hit, but I think people are starting to just get out now and like just walk around. And I actually think that is actually pretty good. You can meet your neighbors for the first time. So I think I think this is actually a really good thing. I think that this is actually creating a peace, in the neighborhood. Everybody's not riled up. Everybody's, people are nervous about, the virus or whatever, but I think that, I look for the sunshine and everything. So, I just think that it's, people are starting to, walk around and stuff like that, trying to see the neighborhood. And I hope that this also encourages people to go to their local restaurants and businesses. You don't need to go to Walmart. Go to the little, shop on the corner that may have some toilet tissue, or or something.
But
so
if you're supposed to be,
that's what.
If you're not supposed to be around crowds of people, how would you do that?
The bars and restaurants here are closed.
Yeah. The restaurants here are closed.
But
too.
I mean, I'm talking about not really the restaurants. I mean, really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fast food places are open, but only drive-through. And there's a few restaurants, like one here called Cheddar's, where you can call in and you go get the food. And
a lot of them are doing that, like carry out type styles.
But like bars and everything, all that stuff is like done.
Yeah, well, they should have said But listen, shout out to Hulu and Netflix. You know what I mean? Like,
they racking up.
Going on. Like, I've never binge watched so much stuff before in my life.
So what is everybody watching?
I've never seen any of the Star Wars before. It took me 36 years, but I finally saw the Star Wars. Shout out! I just saw yesterday Octavia Spencer and Self-Made.
Yeah,
I heard it was good.
That was actually really, really good. And it's really
I haven't
good.
watched it yet.
It's only 4 episodes, but it's actually really good. Something. So I encourage. This is going in my lane a little bit, but like any, those shows on television, like literally those old school shows that we ain't seen in a long time, like A Different World and stuff like that on Amazon Prime. So there's just a lot of stuff we just been binge watching, and that's how we've been surviving. Here, and it's actually been pretty cool. Just to sit in the house and not do nothing. Like I'm not checking emails or I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that. I'm just like kind of just having a good time.
Okay.
Well, my computer from my office is literally right here, so I'm still working.
No, I'm just trying to have a good time. But they said just binge watching. They said shout out. I wish I had stock in Netflix or Hulu and then they're actually showing movies because the movie theaters are closed. They're actually showing movies in the movie theater, so you can watch The Hunt. You can watch
I heard
Invisible Man. They're going straight to digital.
You said on Hulu?
It's on digital, so it's on several platforms. You can watch it on Amazon. I know AMC has an on-demand thing, so there's a lot of different things, a lot of different platforms where you can watch movies that are in the movie theater. They're going straight to digital, so that's actually pretty cool.
Okay, and what are you doing, Antonio, in this age?
What am I doing? I was playing the game for a little bit, and then I got bored with that. So, so I put on the movie Limitless, which is one of my favorites.
Okay, that the one with the little pill thing?
Yeah, that unlocks your brain. Yeah. So I put that on, and it's still fun.
What is that on?
It's I'm on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay, I gotta check it out.
And then I'm gonna take. I'm trying to schedule my days, so I'm gonna take like an hour or two later because there's books that I want to read. Take like 2 hours just to read. How's
school coming along? Because I know that they have put a lot of schools online. So being that you are already doing online school, how is that?
I actually took off this semester, and I'm glad I did.
Okay.
So that one came in handy.
Okay.
But I keep getting emails from the school. All physical classes were canceled. They pretty much moved everything online, and if they couldn't move it online, then it's just on hold.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but I think that we know we're making it. We're resilient. We're a resilient people. So I think that it ain't the purge yet. We ain't purge just yet. But I think that we're making it and we're doing what we're doing. We got to do. But
it might get close. You ain't see the lady and the fighting over the toilet paper.
Oh Lord have mercy. So I want to ask a question to you.
What is the toilet paper? Everybody eating? Like, what are they doing?
Why are we doing the toilet paper?
Why did I just
I don't know what is the deal with the toilet paper? I'm not understanding this.
I just did an article
toilet paper in your house already.
I just did an article that there was a tractor trailer, and I don't know if the tractor trailer was driving suspicious, but some deputies pulled the tractor trailer over.
I heard that.
The trailer had tons of toilet paper
Like
and
18,000
other bathroom products. Huh?
18,000 pounds, I think.
18,000 pounds. Right.
Toilet paper.
In
Yeah,
Raleigh,
he had
North
pallets,
Carolina.
pallets in the back of that.
Yeah, pallets of it in the back.
He was probably gonna sell it.
Sell it.
Yeah.
There's toilet paper, like rolls of like packs of 10 being sold for $40 and up
That is
online.
crazy.
How about the gentleman? He had another one. He had stole 18,000 things of hand
He
sanitizer.
said he
That
can't
was
sell
selling
it.
it on Amazon for $7
Maybe they took it down. Yeah.
a
Then
pop.
they arrested this one dude the other day for stealing a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah, he stole a roll of toilet paper out of his neighbor's car.
Mhm.
He got arrested. And how he got caught was he had the one roll in his pants pocket, and it was from the Dollar. It was from the Dollar General. It was Dollar General brand.
That is, see,
On
that's
You going to jail with a $5,000 bond there for Dollar General brand toilet paper.
toilet paper. Like one of your followers said, grateful and thankful said, I'm happy that Costco put up a disclaimer stating that they are not accepting any returns on toilet paper, mouthwash, paper towels, and any of that. And that's actually really good. I mean, well,
Yeah.
I don't know who returns toilet paper anyway, but
I mean,
like,
a lot
that's
of
nasty.
people are really on the hunt for toilet paper, so it's really serious to the point where they are now limiting. When you go to the grocery stores, there's a limit on how much of the
Yeah.
thing you can take. So that's definitely.
That is, yeah, I know Target is doing the same thing. I think it's
But
like
at the same
3
time,
or 4
though,
of
the
them.
companies are making money, so it's like, are they really?
No, but there's also, but what it is, and I think this is also socially conscious, is that what happens is, I consider myself a young man, and you have older people who can't get to the stores,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
no, I
So
get
they're
that.
taking all the toilet paper from an older person, or somebody, a special needs person who may need it, who actually
Yeah.
may just need toilet paper or hand
Right.
sanitizer. So I think they're just trying to quote unquote rationing it out, just so that make sure everybody gets some dang on toilet paper. I mean, unless you have a family of like 50, or unless you have like a bigger family, I want to say, you don't need like 1,000 rolls of toilet paper.
But I mean, is there some for me? I'm trying to figure out: is there something that the toilet paper does? Can you make the toilet paper into something? Is there,
Maybe you can grow more. I don't know.
I'm saying,
know.
like, can you make a mask out of it? Is it supposed to like absorb something? I just need to know like what. Trying to figure out like what's the whole thing. There's less toilet. There's other things in the store you can find loads
That you
of
can
loads of stuff.
find. Like,
Toilet paper is
toilet paper is not. I mean, I'm glad you guys got it, but I don't think that this, like, is it that
I mean,
serious?
to be perfectly honest, I'm surprised a lot of them even use it because they don't even wash their hands. So
But, I mean, like I said earlier,
Right,
it's
bro.
2020, and
Bro.
we asking people to wash their hands, which is really sad.
I mean,
Like, I thought that's. I mean, and there's actually tutorials, and that people are doing videos like singing the happy
Right,
birthday,
singing
like,
happy birthday. Well,
to you, and it's
well,
like
that is
really
true. You
right
have
on.
you want to be able to wash your hands long enough where the germs from outside or anything that you may be touching, in and out the house can wash away. Just a simple, okay, my hands are washed, are not good enough because you still would have traces of, germs and stuff on your hands.
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna invest in a bidet?
You said what?
Is anybody gonna invest in a bidet?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like just
Seriously, after all this, I mean,
If I had the
why not?
money.
right. That way you ain't got to run to the store and get no toilet paper. You just sit your butt down on your bidet,
Spread it out.
spread the cheekest, and sit.
The
And
government, I say, listen, a nationwide release of bidets in every household.
that's crazy. Speaking
Speaking
of
of that,
nation,
there's an interesting thing that I saw online that I think in Japan, where you wash your hands on the back of the toilet, and that water that you used to wash your hands is now used to flush the toilet the next time. Great.
okay, recycling thing type of.
Yes.
Well, a lot of their toilets, even in like small apartments, are bidet styles anyway, so they don't really have that whole toilet paper.
issue. There's a toilet paper crisis going on in America today.
They don't really have the toilet paper thing. Nationwide, I do want to say the census should be getting mailed out to some people.
Yes.
I
I
know
just got
people
mine.
have received
I got mine.
so please fill it out. It is 10 questions. It may take 10 minutes of your time, but it is important. It is that we are counted. So your level of representatives equal you. So it's always mindful to make sure you fill it out. If you don't want to fill it out, Penn, you can go to the census.com website or census.org, I'm sorry, and fill it out there. Again, 10 minutes of your time can make a world of difference. For those of you who have received it by mail, please fill it out. The only time that the census people come knocking on your door is if you don't fill it out. If you haven't filled it out by a certain time, they will come looking for you because that is their job to
Knock on
kind
your
of
door.
round everybody up and make sure everybody's counted. So if you do it, you fill it out, take 10 minutes of your time to fill out the information, you will be, you won't have to worry about somebody knocking at your door coming to ask you
Who's here?
questions, right?
Anybody in the house with you?
Who's he, who's she, what they
Right.
do, all that
what
kind
it
of
is, yes.
So please just fill it out.
I mean, but it also gives money to the community, so that's why.
Right, and
Yeah,
definitely it gives money to your community. If you want to see, your potholes fixed and your neighborhood looking a little better, definitely this is where you definitely want to make sure you are counted. Your information is private and confidential. So for those of you who think that people, will take your information and trust and believe, if the government wants to find you, they will find you.
They're not
They
worried
know
about
where you
no
live.
social
They know
security.
where you work.
Right. You have a cell phone, you have all these different devices. If they want to tap into it, they can.
So earlier when you said getting your potholes fixed, I was thinking the other day, for the people that are in jail for whatever reason, why don't we have them doing things like that? Like that can be a way to shorten their sentence, or maybe that's too, I guess, construction-y of a job for them. But beyond picking up trash, I mean, there's potholes that could be fixed. There's buildings that could be remodeled, painted.
Well, it's a good idea because it also then instills a training aspect,
But
They
doesn't
learn
that
a craft.
knowledge, right?
but
Knowledge.
doesn't that take
aspect.
away from the contractors who do it?
Well, as many
Well-
potholes as there are around here, the contractors really don't care.
Well, one, it would do two things. It would increase a trade in the people in populated who are incarcerated, which would then give them a sense of once they come out, they would definitely have to fall back on and do that will be able to give them income, so they won't have to resort back to something that they ended up in jail in the first place. However, the problem with that is statistically there are a lot of us in there than it is of them, and a lot of the construction companies are run by the others.
Right.
And they want to keep it very tight knit between them as far as who gets picked. Because if you notice, you see a lot of construction things. The only time you see us, very seldom, is the
Turning
one doing stop and slow. But everybody actually doing the work in the infrastructure part of the work does not look like us. So, definitely, it's a great idea. It's definitely something that needs to be looked at because, picking up trash is a great thing, but is it a skill? Even when you're doing community service, hey, get to it. Of course, it's a liability thing, of course, with the insurance, and people may possibly burning themselves or using the materials or things to attack either other inmates and or people, you know what I'm saying? So it's a whole bunch of other things too that although it's a good idea, will kind of make people go, I don't know about that.
I still haven't got a personalized license plate. I still ain't received that yet. So still waiting on it.
Really?
Okay. Let's make sure they finish what we supposed to do.
License plate, like are they still manufacturing?
Yes, they making mine. They told me directly that it's coming from down further south, and I still haven't gotten mine yet. So I need my license plate.
I thought that myth has been. I knew they were making like furniture. I know they were making like furniture and caskets and stuff, but I didn't know that they were making
license
still making license plates still.
Hell, they could plant trees. Like I'm just thinking of other things that like thinking
good.
personally that I would like to see just to make it a little bit brighter. Plant a tree, plant some flowers. Hell, clean the pool. The pool gets dirty because it's surrounded by trees. There's leaves all over the place. There's so
Right.
many-
No. I mean, yeah, I get it. There are a lot of other things that they could have inmates do, right, instead of just being incarcerated. But again, then that falls into having enough manpower to secure the area against people trying to escape, and all those type of things. So
And all that jazz.
do like they did in life. You see there are no fences here. There are no gates.
But he still had a big old shotgun, like still.
Everybody said he's still. And they'd be happy. And let me tell you something. Let it be a person of color. They'd be more than happy to shoot you.
Come on, that's Jonathan. Yeah.
There'd be a whole bunch of dead black people and colored people all over the.
That is crazy. But yeah, pretty much that is all.
Oh, there's a new pair of Jordans that I want. Come on, let's do that. There's a new pair of Jordans. There's a Gucci
Okay,
belt
so
that I
you brought that up. All these people losing their home, losing their jobs, and like
Right.
it's serious. Like
Right. Yeah.
the economy is about to shift completely.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
for those people who, let's just say they get this little $2,000 or whatever they get, and sometimes that doesn't even cover your basic.
Yes,
bill.
yes, absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
Where are you cashing it at? If things get really bad, God forbid, of course. But if things get really bad, where you cashing this piece of paper check at?
Nowhere.
Well, I saw. Well, I mean, they said someone's supposed to be getting direct deposited, so I don't know if that is true, but yeah. But I'm just saying. But are we going to vote for Trump now? That he not that bad. You know what I mean? His master not that bad.
I'm not giving that man no time of day. Okay, I'm not. I'm not getting my vote. I don't care how much money he flings at you to make you think, oh yeah, we're on the right
Deposit,
guy.
yeah. I thought it was the mobile deposit, but my thing is this, and I think one of your followers have put on it, where's the money coming from? I agree with that because I have a feeling as soon as you cash that check in January when you file your taxes, trust and believe there's gonna be a bill for at least $1,200 on your that you're
Right.
gonna have to pay back. So I totally believe they're not gonna
Exactly.
give you
At the end of the day,
$1,200.
at the end of the day, you're gonna have to pay it back. So
Everybody
Yeah.
getting a loan.
Yeah,
Right. Exactly. That's all
with
you get.
interest.
Right.
Yes.
So when you
So,
roll,
yes, I
when
definitely-
everything calms down and you go to pay your taxes again, and you
Yeah,
find
there's
out you'll be
already-
owing,
yeah.
that's what you'll be owing.
That's what
What do
you'll
you
be
think
owing,
about the
yes.
long lines
But-
at the gun places? The long lines at the gun places that is happening. Of course, it is two things. One, a lot of Asian Americans are finding themselves in more gun stores and picking up ammo because people have been attacking Asian Americans due to the president and other Republicans and other people calling this the Chinese virus.
Which I wish they would stop.
I wish they would stop that also.
I really wish they would stop that.
Somebody's even called it the Kung Fu virus.
And there's one more. No, there was another name. It's up with a W. The Wu something virus, the Wu Chang virus, or something
The
like that.
Wuhan virus.
Wuhan, yeah, the Wuhan virus. Let me tell you something. Coming from the commander in chief, you don't say something like that because the reason why I don't feel like you should say something like that because that it creates a xenophobia. And this is why people like him. I'm riling people up. They have somebody to blame. So if there's anybody of Asian descent, they may not even be from China. But for anybody who's Asian descent, they're gonna blame you for it. I mean, I've personally been in grocery stores and I've seen Asian people get, they get hated on basically because of that. I don't think that the president should have said that. It did come from China. I mean, his words, the way he phrases things, it's ridiculous. But I do not think that he should. I don't think that he should have said what I don't think he said. Not coming from him. Now, if that's backroom talk, and you feel, oh, these Chinese people are doing it. That's when being that it's going to become a national subject. It's going to be a national alert because the president said.
At this point, it is causing fellow Americans harm. So,
Yes.
as the president of the United States, stop using it. Stop saying it. Because it just shows your xenophobia. It just shows your bigotry. It just shows your racism that you claim that you're so far from. But he can't help himself because that's what he is. So it doesn't matter to him.
But the thing about it is not him. It's just that it's the fact that his message is reaching millions and millions of people, and that's what I think that it does come off wrong.
It starts with him, though. He's the president.
Yes, so, you're absolutely right. I agree with that.
So I mean, then what? So what are we saying?
I just don't think that he should. I don't think he should have said it. He should have.
No, I mean, I get that he shouldn't say it, but understand, knowing that when you're saying stuff, people are reacting to what you're saying. So you calling this a Chinese virus, you have people out here attacking Asian Americans to the point where they are now going to gun shops and buying ammunition. Not only are they doing it, but you have regular, gun people buying up ammunition now, thinking that somebody's going to come and take their guns due to this. Or do they need to protect themselves from people who may be infected trying to attack them? Lord knows where this could go.
I know a lot of people were saying that they were worried about people who couldn't get to the stores trying to break into other homes to get supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that. And my fiance mentioned something. He said that somebody posted online that she was in an Uber ride and she was talking to the Uber driver and she said, "What are the homeless going to do? I'm worried about them trying to take my stuff." And he said, "You don't need to worry about the homeless because they're used to not having." He said, "You need to worry about the people who have stuff and aren't used to
not having."
Yeah.
Right.
Not having.
He said, "Those are who you need to worry about." So after hearing that, that makes sense. When you're trying to protect yourself from other, let's be honest, we're Americans, we're spoiled. You're trying to protect yourself from other spoiled human beings who just missed that window to go to the store. So
or there's nothing left in those stores. You might have said, I mean, I'm going to tell you, it took me a minute. I mean, luckily I have the resources, but it took me a minute to find some ground beef. Like I went to like 2 or 3 different stores and it was like, no ground beef left. So, I mean, I can understand, it's like, oh no, you got the ground beef. I need to, I need to get it from you. So, that is also another fear, but,
Right. Exactly. I agree with Andrew on that.
See, we were supposed to be fighting, CC. You know what I mean? I was ready for a battle today. You know what I mean? This is not normally, I'm going to tell your followers, this is like the nicest conversation me and Captivating Christian has ever had. We normally, I don't think we've had one discussion.
You haven't gone there with me.
No, you haven't seen. No, see, this is really nice. Like I was ready to, I had the whole arm on. I was gonna put my gloves on. No.
Whatever. Why do we waste our energy trying to figure out this person? Right, exactly. I totally agree with Brother Nate on that. He's shown us time and time again who he is, so there's no need to actually, and I don't like it when the news reporters kind of go into the mind or the kind of mental state of Donald Trump. We already know who he is and what he is.
When somebody shows you what Maya Angelou say, when somebody shows you who you are, believe them the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See, exactly. After the storm, you always prepare for the next one. Amen. That's a testimony there. I'm going to use that on my social media status.
Another one I saw online that said that people under 30 or just turning 30, they've survived Ebola, they've survived H1N1, they've survived. They're now dealing with Corona. They've survived the stock market crashing twice.
Right.
Like it's not crashing, but the economy.
In recession, and they say it's about to do it again. So giving you this money is not just the simple fact for, hey, I'm just going to give you this money. Giving you this money is like, okay, we may go somewhere, and I just want y'all to know I gave y'all that money. So when we
are we gonna bubble up now? We gonna put him back in our business? He did give y'all some money.
That's the purpose of it. So who knows? But yeah, that is so crazy. But with that, guys, we've come up on an hour and 10 minutes. And I don't want to take too much of everybody's time. Even though we're all quarantined, we still have stuff to do. Places we need to be cleaning, areas we need to be sanitizing.
Got my Lysol.
Right. So just make sure everybody is doing the proper thing. Make sure everybody's washing their hands and, keeping that all together. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming by. Thank you to my guests, Mr. Showtime, Antonio, and people in the chat, mods. Thank you. And that's all we got. Have a good day. Enjoy. Peace.
Have a good one. Read.
Later.